The Class 172s are part of the Turbostar train family, and probably the most distinctive Turbostar at that, due to their use of mechanical instead of hydraulic transmission. These units are still pretty young, having only been built in 2010 and 2011, and following my review of the Class 378, I thought I should have a look at the Class 172 as well. This unit was recreated for Train Simulator by Dovetail games themselves. The Class 172 was released for TS Classic in March 2017, as part of the extended version of the North London Line route add-on, which costs $31 New Zealand dollars at full price. This extended version comes with the Willesden Junction to Clapham Junction and Gospel Oak to Barking lines, while the original just had Richmond to Stratford and pretty much nothing else. The Gospel Oak to Barking route, otherwise known as the Goblin, had yet to be electrified at the time of this add-on's release, and said add-on is now somewhat outdated. If you've got Train Sim World 4 or any subsequent sequels, you can get the Goblin as a route add-on for that game. In all honesty, I kinda prefer the TSW version over the TS Classic one, since it depicts the line in its current electrified state, complete with the Class 710 Aventra and the new extension to Barking Riverside. In real life, there are 4 variants of the Class 172, but we only get one in Train Simulator. This is the 172-0, a 2-car variant without cab end gangways, unlike the later 172-2 and 172-3, which look like 377s. 8 examples of the 172-0 subclass were built in 2010, and they were originally used on the Gospel Oak to Barking line, where they replaced the older Class 150-1 Sprinters. After the arrival of the Class 710 Aventra EMUs, and after only 9 years of service with the London Overground, the 172-0s were transferred to West Midlands Railway, where they remain to this day. Dovetail's recreation of the Class 172 looks alright from a distance, but something about the way they modelled the windows, doors and cab fronts just looks, for want of a better word, off. To be more specific, I think the problem is either the cab looking a little too wide, or the headlight clusters being a tiny bit too close together. In any case, the 172 is a classic example of a train from Dovetail's back catalogue where the doors open and close way too quickly. This issue still hasn't been fixed despite the unit being in the game for over 7 years now. Other issues that I noticed on this unit were the lack of auto-numbering and the destination displays only being changeable in the scenario editor, not in driver mode as well. There is at least one area where the 172 improves upon the old X Thomson Class 170, and that is in the openable cab door, although as you open the door, you can hear sounds that are clearly reused from the old Class 483 from the Isle of Wight. As for the 172's cab view, it's not entirely accurate when compared to photographs of the real thing. Errors that I noticed were A. The AWS sunflower being in the wrong place, B. The DRA button being the wrong type, C. That additional screen to the left of the DRA button where the AWS sunflower should be, and D. The destination keypad being in the wrong place and of the wrong type. I could be wrong, but it appears that DTG may have just ripped the cab interior model from the 170, and what changes they did make turned out to be inaccurate for this variant of the 172. Go figure. As for the sounds, well, they're not all that good, and this train is yet to receive an Armstrong Powerhouse enhancement pack. I know the horn is recycled from the default Class 170, but I'm not sure if the same can be said for the engine sounds. Given their poor reputation where sounds were concerned, especially around the mid to late 2010s, I wouldn't put it past Dovetail if they did just reuse unaltered 170 sounds on a 172, despite the fact that the real 172 sounds nothing like a 170. In any case, and in my opinion, DTG did a poor job recreating the distinctive sounds of the 172's engines, which can clearly be heard revving down and back up again as they change gears. There's a disclaimer in the manual that essentially boils down to, because, insert convenient explanation here, we haven't been able to do a proper job on the sounds, so just take what we give you and be grateful for it. I can't really think of a suitable word to describe the driving experience on the Class 172. On one hand, it's nice to have any variant of this unit in the game, and in some ways she's easy to drive. She's certainly nowhere near as advanced as the likes of Armstrong Powerhouse's Class 205. But on the other hand, I don't like the sluggish brakes, or how they sometimes go into emergency when you open the passenger doors. Due to the very short platforms on the Goblin route, you really have to keep an eye on your speed as you approach a station, lest you risk overshooting the platform. Although the 172s have a top speed of 100 miles per hour, you won't be going anywhere near that fast on the Gospel Oak to Barking Run, where the maximum speed limit is only 55 miles per hour. And even then, that's only on a short section between Gospel Oak and Upper Holloway. The speed limit is usually around 45 for the rest of the route. In January 2018, the old Thomson Class 170 model got an enhancement pack from Armstrong Powerhouse. It also included the Class 168 and Class 171 units. The 172 was not included, and I dare say that's because of her significant mechanical differences from the other Turbostars. And as stated earlier, we've never had the other three 172 variants in the game, not counting reskins of the Class 170 or Class 377. I find the lack of the other variants a bit disappointing, especially given the presence of Just Trains' chill-turn mainline in the game, for which the 172/1 variant would be ideal. For now, I think the only chill-turn stock you've got available to run on that route is either the 165, 168, as you can see here, and the Class 68 with Mark III coaches. As far as I know, we still haven't got any of the non-electrified West Midlands routes in the game, which could explain why we've never had proper models of the 172/2 and 172/3. In any case, I would quite like to see the West Midlands Class 172 brought to TS Classic, or better yet, Train Sim World at some point, and as part of a route going from Stratford upon Avon to Worcester Foregate Street. Of course, the Class 139 and Stourbridge Town branch would have to be included as well. At the end of the day, and although I will probably continue using this unit for occasional cameos in my videos, I can't say I'm a fan of Dovetail's recreation of the Class 172. By comparison, the North London and Goblin Lines route itself is much better, aside from the poor scenery south of Shepherd's Bush. As I alluded to earlier, the 172 is in dire need of an enhancement pack from Armstrong Powerhouse, or better yet, a whole new model with all 4 subclasses. In any case, there are numerous trains in need of a new EP from Armstation Land Rover, Examples include the Class 360 Desiro, Class 442 5WES, otherwise known as Plastic Pig, and Class 421 Force Sig, although the Force Sig would benefit more from an entirely new model. The one we've got now was first released way back in July 2011. Thinking back to the Class 172/0 Turbostar, and given her current state for TS Classic, I can only give this unit a 4 out of 10.